Hello everyone and welcome to May B&B 724 YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. Ridge's awkward choice, Brooke's gloats, and Taylor's proposal. Here are spoilers for Monday, June the 23rd, 2025's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. It is anticipated by fans that Taylor Hayes will pop the question. However, Ridge Forrester finds himself in a difficult situation as a result of Taylor's romantic plea. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Brooke Logan's arrogance. Fans remember that Brooke Logan dropped off some papers at Eric Forrester's estate in Friday's episode. Taylor was compelled to inquire about Nick Marone's return while she was there. Although it was pleasant to get back in touch with Nick, Brooke acknowledged that the sea is his true calling. Brooke then boasted about Ridge becoming envious and ordering her to avoid Nick. See what transpired in the most recent B&B episode by reading this. The marriage proposal of Taylor Hayes. Taylor and Ridge are seated at a little table with a flower in the middle of it in the weekly preview clip. It appears that Illinois Giardino may be the location. Taylor spills her heart out as they sit in the private space. The psychiatrist then begs Ridge to wed her. Despite Taylor's love for Ridge, her unexpected proposal comes across as desperate. Ridge Forrester's uncomfortable response. According to Monday, June 23rd spoilers on The Bold and the Beautiful, Ridge is rendered speechless as Taylor pops the question. But not in a positive way. Ridge puts his palm to his mouth clumsily, but his thoughts are obvious. Despite his deep love for Taylor, Ridge may decline her proposal. Ridge is obviously still in love with Brooke, but Taylor developed broken heart syndrome as a result of her sadness. Therefore, even though Ridge is in love with Brooke, that might keep him from abandoning Taylor. Ridge might possibly say yes, but that would only mean that something will happen on the wedding day. Check out these spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Will Taylor unexpectedly leave with Nick Marone? The dream of Luna Nozawa. Next up is Luna Nozawa. Will Spencer can be seen entering Luna's flat in a weekly teaser film. They then discuss how Will left Electra Forrester because he didn't find her exciting enough. Will confesses that he enjoys danger, and Luna gives her ideal boy a passionate kiss. But this doesn't seem like anything Will would say or do. I'm going to venture a guess and believe that this is just another of Luna's hallucinogenic dreams. But Luna would stop at nothing to fulfill her aspirations. This implies that there may be other people in serious risk besides Hayes Forrester Finnegan and Steffi Forrester Finnegan. Taylor takes a big step. According to Monday, June 23rd, 2025, spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Taylor is acting to ensure that she can keep Ridge. Taylor becomes bankrupt. Now that Nick Marone is back in town, Taylor Hayes is worried that she might lose Ridge Forrester once more. She needs to act quickly before Ridge realizes he wants Brooke Logan again because she can sense he is envious. If it was ever genuine, Taylor's newfound confidence that Ridge appears to adore is evaporating. Therefore, Taylor seizes the opportunity and asks Ridge to join her for dinner at Illinois Giardino, where she makes a marriage proposal. Check out this. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. How does Steffi leave in 2025? JMW's maternity exit? Since he typically makes the proposal, Ridge is a little surprised, but Taylor is sincere. What is Ridge going to say? With Brooke still on her mind, is she prepared to commit to that level of commitment? He claims to love Taylor and not want to let her down again, but is he prepared to get married? Nick observes everything. When Taylor initiates contact, neither Ridge nor Taylor are aware that Nick Marone is present at the restaurant. Does he hear Ridge's response once he sees the proposal? He is eager to tell Brooke all he saw in Deacon Sharp's Italian restaurant, regardless of the outcome. Brooke needs to know what Taylor said since she is just as startled as Ridge. When she saw Taylor the day before in Eric Forrester's living room, she could see that she was acting a little insecure. She enjoyed sharing with Taylor how worried Ridge was about Brooke seeing Nick once more. He seemed to be almost envious. While Nick views it as further evidence that he is Brooke's true destiny and Ridge is a thing of the past, Brooke is aware that Taylor's action is one of desperation. Brooke needs to make a lot of decisions quickly. Break Taylor's heart by letting Ridge and Brooke loose in Italy. According to Spoilers for the Bold and the Beautiful, executive Brad Bell has confirmed that Bridge, also known as Ridge Forrester, and Brooke Logan will reunite. Fans of Taylor Hayes and Tridge, also known as Ridge, will be saddened by this, but who among us did not anticipate this? Let's dissect the probable sequence of events. Over is Tridge. Head writer Bell conducted interviews during the Italy shoot that were featured in an Italian magazine, which also included remarks from Kay and Lang. A sneak glance at their comments is as follows. Kay is not happy with Ridge's treatment of Brooke and Taylor. The majority of Brooke's 10 marriages have been to Ridge, and Lang wasn't always in agreement with the way her character was portrayed. In fact, she discussed the shady scheme involving Brooke and Deacon Sharp cheating on her daughter Bridget Forrester. Do you support Bridge or Tridge? According to Bell, there were sequences involving Nick, Brooke, Ridge, Eric Forrester, and Steffi Forrester during the Italy filming. Ridge and Brooke are said to have decided they can't live apart there. Well, the easiest way to describe that is that it relieves fans who believed Ridge was bound to betray Taylor. At least we now know that the end is in sight. Bridges are explosive. Unfortunately, Taylor is not present to defend herself or fight for her male toy at this crucial moment. Would it have mattered if she had been? What does this mean for Nick Maroney, who just returned? He laid at Ridge after swooping into FC and kissing Brooke in her pants. It appears that there are two possible outcomes. 1. Bridge and Nick stick to Ridge, or 2. Brooke makes Ridge envious by using Nick. What takes place on the CBS soap next? Right now, it seems like option number 2 is active. Tell us what you think of a Bridge redo now, B&B lovers. Are you cheering for Ridge and Brooke to finally get it right? Or do you not give a damn? Will Taylor make an unexpected move and sail away with Nick Marone? Rumors and teasers for the Bold and the Beautiful hint that someone may leave LA with Nick Marone when he resumes his sailing. Will Taylor Hayes leave with Brooke Logan? Though, given that it appears that he and Ridge Forrester will get back together. Taylor and Brooke had other men in common besides Ridge. Brooke and Taylor have had love rivalries for years, the most well-known of which is their rivalry with Ridge Forrester. Although Taylor is much behind Brooke in relationships, they were both married to Thorne Forrester and Nick as well. Taylor might remain in the area due of her daughter and grandchildren, but it's likely that she will be written off the show once more after Bridge is reunited. Taylor will experience heartbreak once more, but this time she appears to be handling it well, since that she is aware that her broken heart condition is not lethal. They had recently talked about Ridge's clear passion for Brooke, and she is not in a rush to get married again. A mother-daughter journey following Liam Spencer's death? It seems sense that Taylor, the kids, and Steffi Forrester may go on a mother-daughter trip if and when Liam Spencer passes away. That might help her forget that she lost Ridge to Brooke once more, but it won't make her heart feel better. For now, though, she is with Ridge. During a recent episode of B&B, Ridge's jealousy was evident when he entered the workplace and saw Nick and Brooke in the Forrester office. That makes it clear that Brooke and Nick will not be married again. She will most likely remarry Ridge, and he will sail away once more. Will Taylor and Nick set sail together? If Taylor is going to leave the show again, it makes much more sense for Nick and her to sail off together. She deserves a happy ending just as much as Brooke does. Although there has been no hint that Taylor will be written out this time, nobody would be shocked given how frequently it has happened in the past. Since Ridge can't commit to a single woman for the rest of his life, why not let Taylor have her happily ever after with Nick? In this manner, Taylor will be able to reply in 9 words if Nick and she decide to visit Los Angeles in the future to spend time with her family, as Brooke and Ridge are most likely to have broken up once more. You had your chance and you blew it again, is actually what Nick may say to Ridge with Taylor, with a fluttering heart and a desperate hope cloaked in poise. Taylor Hayes sat across from Ridge Forrester at Illinois Giardino, under the golden flicker of candlelight and the soft sway of a violin playing in the background. The small flower in the center of the table served as both decoration and a symbol, fragile, fleeting, yet full of meaning. Knowing full well that what she was about to do could either secure the future she had always desired or break the last of her dignity, her palms trembled slightly as she reached for his. Brooke Logan, who had stopped by the Forrester mansion on the guise of delivering files, tossed her golden hair and grinned triumphantly across town. She was basking in the aftermath of Ridge's barely disguised jealousy over her renewed connection with Nick Marone. Ridge's possessive instincts blazed like wildfire when he saw her with another man, proving that Brooke had always understood how to bait him. She used Nick like a match to a keg of powder this time. However, Taylor's sensitivity peaked back at Illinois Giardino when she asked Ridge to marry her by getting down on one knee, not out of duty, but out of urgency. Like a wine glass on the edge of a table, the suggestion hung in midi. Stunned, Ridge put his palm to his lips, not with happiness, but with pain. When Brooke was still dancing in his mind like a ghost he had never exorcised, his silence screamed what his heart dared not say. He wasn't ready. Taylor thought his hesitancy was shock, hopeful shock, but the reality was more profound. Yes, Ridge did love her, but not as much as he loved Brooke. He never loved Brooke the way he did. Taylor was aware of it. A second plea, more human, more damaged, and more delicate than the first, was whispered, and her voice broke. She brought to his mind their past, their kids, and the healing they had both accomplished. She reminded him of the emotional tightrope she had been walking since their last argument and her broken heart syndrome. Ridge shifted uneasily in his chair, his eyes flashing not only with uncertainty but also with shame, guilt, and a need for a more straightforward reality that he was unable to express out loud. He reached out of fear of hurting people more than out of clarity. Unbeknownst to them, Nick Marone was sitting at the bar, sipping a scotch and watching the action develop with the same passion as a man reading the last page of a book in which he had previously starred. He didn't have to hear every word, but he didn't. He could tell anything from the body language. And Nick had already planned his next move, still flushed from his own recent run-in with Brooke and smug with confidence. He would assure Brooke, yes, he would record every detail, including every moment of uneasiness in the air, every turn Taylor's eyes, and every stammer Ridge made. Brooke needed to know that Ridge was still pursuing two ghosts at the same time, and she was one of them. Brooke laughed incredulously and triumphantly when Nick told her the story later over a bottle of white wine. She was aware that Taylor's offer was merely a Hail Mary pass to a man who was already looking in the direction of another end zone. With the smugness of a lady who had played this game for decades and still understood every move on the board, Brooke gloated, not in a mean way. She recalled Taylor's inquiries at Eric's estate earlier, how they swiftly shifted from worry to questioning as soon as Nick's name was mentioned. She now knew why. Taylor felt frightened. Even though Brooke knew it was envy in disguise, she allowed Nick's information to sink in as she repeated all of Ridge's remarks to her regarding boundaries with Nick. Meanwhile, Luna Nozawa was having her own fantasies in another section of town, one of which was that Will Spencer, who had recently broken up with Electra Forrester, was hungry for danger and drew Luna into a passionate kiss. But it became evident that all of this was in Luna's mind, a fevered dream of passion and conquest, as the candles flickered and the shadows swirled. As with her previous attachment to Hayes Finnegan, Luna was on a downward spiral, her obsession with Will turning into a dangerous fixation. The boundaries between the people she loved and the ones she wished to destroy were starting to blur as her fantasies became more vivid. Steffi and Hayes may not be the only ones in danger. When Ridge eventually responded, back at Illinois Giardino, Taylor was trying to grin, but it wasn't really a yes. It was a non-committal, I love you, Taylor, followed by the predictable let's not rush things. Taylor nodded, her eyes glossy, her throat dry, and her stomach sinking. She knew what that meant. It meant that once again, Ridge had chosen comfort over passion, safety over truth, the past over the future. She could feel the rejection coiled in his words like a viper ready to strike. And yet she smiled, because what else could she do? Across the table, Ridge sighed, the weight of indecision pressing down like a mountain. Meanwhile, back at Brooke's place, Nick was suggesting that Ridge's hesitation was all the proof she needed, that she was his true destiny, not Taylor. Brooke pretended to resist the idea, but her eyes twinkled with the same mischievous fire that once led her to seduce her daughter's husband, her sister's lover, and her best friend's soulmate. Ridge and Brooke were headed for another collision course, and the destination was Rome. Indeed, Brad Bell had confirmed it. The Italy shoot was meant to seal Bridge's reunion. Brooke and Ridge would walk the cobblestone streets of Florence, past marble fountains and beneath the shadow of ancient cathedrals, and somewhere between memories and mistakes, they'd decide that they couldn't live without each other. Taylor wouldn't be there to object. How could she? She was too busy convincing herself she hadn't just been rejected again. While Steffi would worry about her mother, and Thomas might try to mediate, Taylor would be left to suffer in silence, her heartbreak a familiar companion. But this time, she wouldn't spiral. Not publicly. Instead, she'd quietly plot her next step, and Nick might just be a part of that plan. Taylor and Nick had history. They'd both been second choices. Both had tasted rejection from the same people. Maybe this time, they'd choose each other. Maybe this time, the losers would win. Rumors swelled that Taylor might sail off with Nick, literally, leaving behind Lars' toxic love triangles for the open sea. After all, Nick's destiny had always been the ocean. Why not let Taylor find hers beside him? Brooke would marry Ridge, of course, for the 12th time, maybe 13th. But the cycle would repeat, as it always did. Ridge would cheat, Brooke would cry, Taylor would return, and the carousel would spin again. But maybe, just maybe, Taylor was tired of the ride. Maybe she'd finally step off, anchor herself in new waters, and choose herself. Or maybe she'd return, with Nick by her side, and deliver one final blow to Ridge. You had your chance, and you blew it again. The end. Never. Not on this soap. Because just as Ridge kisses Brooke under the Italian moon, and Taylor sets sail into the unknown, Luna Nozawa lurks in the shadows, her fantasies brewing, her obsession growing, and her danger doubling. And as Steffi and Finn tighten security for Hayes, and while Spencer tries to make sense of Luna's unpredictable behavior, a new storm brews in L.A., one filled with betrayal, revenge, seduction, and maybe, just maybe, a murder mystery. But for now, Taylor's proposal is rejected. Ridge's love remains torn. And Brooke? Brooke gloatingly raises her wine glass, victorious once more in a war she never truly left.